Hi guys, it's Sophie. So I've got a fairly big stack of books sitting right here next to me. It's my next Around the World haul. It's Around the World haul part 3. And yeah, I'm gathering quite a few books at the moment. I probably hit 50, I would have thought, on my owned pile. So I've still got like 100 odd to go to buy, like 140 odd. But it's starting to look really exciting in that corner. Every time I look over I'm like, next year's going to be good. So yeah, I'm excited to jump into some stuff with you here. So the first one that I have is my pick for Venezuela, and that is The Sickness by Alberto Berra-Teixeira. So this is a book about a man who believes that he is very unwell, that he is dying, and his family think that he is essentially being a hypochondriac, but throughout the novel potentially he's not as worried about his health as he ought to have been. So I think it's kind of an unfolding of an illness, about kind of the question about whether or not he is ill. Yeah, we shall see. It's very short, and I'm sure it was shortlisted for the Independent Foreign Fiction Prize, so high praise, and looking forward to it. And the next one I have is a very battered copy of a book. I do apologise. It's my pick for Uruguay, and it is Days and Night of Love and War by Eduardo Galeano. Yeah, unfortunately, because I'm buying so many books in one go, I'm having to go second hand quite a lot. This one has been well loved. But yeah, so this book is essentially a journal of the author's time in Uruguay, and I believe in other countries in Latin America as well. I'm really talking about the gangs and the fear of government forces, and what it was like living in that time. And I've heard really strong things about it, though I don't know more about it than that. It's just one of those books I think is in kind of your consciousness, and I was glad to be able to give this one a go. The kind of setup looks really interesting as well. It's all done in very short sections, so it has like a title section and then 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. But yeah, so it should be interesting. I thought for one horrible second I'd lost page 41, but I haven't. It's just a little bit loose. Yeah, so we'll see how I got on with that one, and if I really like it I'll probably buy myself a new copy. And the next one I have is my pick for Turkmenistan. I wasn't actually planning on reading this one, but it is the only book that's been published from a Turkmenistani author ever in English, and it's A Tale of a Yepi by Ak Welsfar, which I have already read, and that's the reason I wasn't planning on reading it, because I didn't think I'd be doing any rereads, but I have to. It's a good book, I liked it. It's just a little bit of a shame not to be able to have a whole fresh year, but this is essentially the story of an angered woman who is drowned because she's so beautiful, and she comes back to haunt all of the men on this kind of isolated fishing town. At the same time, they're being driven out of their home to make way for this new luxury holiday resort that's going to be built on top of their fishing village. Yeah, so I did enjoy it. It's not that I'm not looking forward to reading it again, it's just a bit of a shame not to have found one from every country I hadn't already got to. But yeah, this one's from Turkmenistan, so if you're doing Around the World, there is one, it's this one. I just need a little bit of coffee. It's like midday on Saturday, but I'm still feeling quite sleepy. I had to go clothes shopping. I'm not a big clothes shopper. Book shopping, fine. Clothes shopping, I don't know. You just got hot and sweaty getting changed, don't you? Okay, so my next one is my pick for Syria. Now there were loads of books that I wanted to read for Syria, but this one had kind of the highest praise when I've been looking at them, and I kind of thought, you know what, I'm going to trust people's opinions. So this is The Crossing by Samaya Yazbek, which is a story about a woman who was sort of pushed out of Syria by Assad's regime, and who made several kind of surreptitious journeys back into Syria after her exile, and it's about her going to and from Syria and really telling about kind of the uprising and militia groups and the government and how that interplays from a very kind of intimate perspective. So yeah, as I say, there were lots I could have picked, but this one seemed to have lots and lots of people really raving about it. And then next I have my pick for Portugal, and this one is The Double by Jose Saramago. I'd known this one was the one I was going to get for a while, but this is a book about a man who is watching a film and notices that the lead actor is identical to him in every single way, and he becomes completely obsessed with finding out who is this man, who is my doppelganger, essentially. And it all gets rather confusing, as Saramago's books normally do, because I believe that potentially even his own family aren't sure which of these two men are him. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's a little bit longer, yeah, it's a little bit longer than the 300-page rule, but I really wanted to read more of him. And I want to have a few like soft books that, not that this is a soft book, but books where I already know the author or something about them, so that it has that sense of familiarity, because there's going to be a lot of new things next year. And then the next one is my pick for Peru, and this one is Aunt Julia and the Scriptwriter by Mario Vargas Llosa. Nobel Prize winning, so that's exciting. I didn't know that until I picked the book up actually, and this lovely gold sticker was on it. But yeah, it does sound interesting. It's about a young man who works in a radio station, who has his life kind of invaded by these two forces, Aunt Julia and the scriptwriter. Aunt Julia, I believe, is an aunt not by blood, because it says our young hero starts to have an affair with her, and the screenwriter writes these kind of racy, like sagas almost, that have the whole community enthralled, but decides to sort of cling rather to, again, our main character as he slowly goes insane. So yeah, it sounds like it should be fun. I really like the cover as well. I think it's just, I don't know, it looks really alive somehow. I'm looking forward to getting to it. The next one I have is my pick for North Korea. When I realised, actually I can read this book next year, I was so excited because I wanted to read it. There's a number of books that I really want to get to, but that I'm having to put off because I'm doing my round around the world. And I was like, oh yeah, The Accusation by Bandy is actually from North Korea. So yeah, a lot of people will have heard of this one already. I know it's been going around for a while now. But these are a collection of kind of stories that are told by this writer who's only known as the kind of pseudonym Bandy, who's writing about life in North Korea, about what it's like to live in a like totalitarian state. And yeah, I've heard really good things. The book itself is very pretty, and I'm really looking forward to it. I've watched a few documentaries and series around North Korea, so I have a little bit of an idea of what to expect, but I think it will be really enlightening to read it from someone who's lived it, and as someone who's still there. So the author is still in North Korea as far as we're aware. And the next one I have is my pick for Japan, and that is Record of a Night Tube Brief by Hiromi Kawakami. So this is a book that just sounds fab. It's 3 short stories all around women characters. It says that a woman travels through an unending night with her porcelain girlfriend, monsters of the mist, and a monkey who shows no mercy. A sister who mourns her brother, visible only to her, while her family welcome his would-be wife into their home. And an incident in the park leaves the shock guard to discover the snakes and intimate lives everywhere she turns. Sounds like it's going to be fun. I picked this one up fairly on a whim when I was doing my book haul for the Books My Bag, but yeah, I think it sounds really fun, and the cover is gorgeous. The covers by all of the books by this author that have similar covers are just stunning. If you've seen them, you'll have been drawn to them, I'm sure. And the next one I have is my pick for France, and that one is Birth of a Bridge by Maëlys de Kerangal. So I knew that I wanted to pick up this author, but it was actually another book, which I think is Men the Living, that lots of people have read and enjoyed. So I saw this one and thought, actually, do you know what, I'm going to go for one that I haven't heard lots about. It sounds a bit weird. It's set in Southern California in a town called Cocoa, which is fairly kind of off the grid. No one really goes there, no one's really got any reason to. And this new mayor decides that he's going to put it, you know, strongly on the map by building this bridge that is like a feat of modern engineering. And somehow building this bridge is just the worst thing he could have possibly done. Sounds very strange. I really like the industrial cover, the little things. I definitely have a sense of bridge in this cover, which I think is really good, and we'll see what I think of her. I heard lots of good things about her. And the next is my pick for the Dominican Republic, and that is This Is How You Lose Her by Junot Diaz. This is a collection of short stories that focus on the relationship between men and women. Again, this was an author I knew I wanted to get to, and this is a really tiny little one. I tend to like short stories every now and again, and I thought I'd grab this one in, and it'll be interesting to see that kind of gender divide in a society that is quite different to my own. So yeah, I'm interested for that one. And the next one I have is Tram 83 by Fista Mbala Mungilia, she says, hopefully. This is a book that is, I think, exploring some of the positives of African culture. It says on the back that we've had enough of squalor, poverty, syphilis and violence in African literature. So I'm hoping that it's going to have a somewhat upbeat tone, and also talking about kind of what life is like in Africa now, rather than I guess just focusing on the negative side, which is more of what I know. So yeah, although I think it's fairly dark as well. This one was in the list for the Man Booker International 2016. I didn't pick it up at the time, so yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to it now. The next one I have is my pick for Bulgaria, and that one is A Short Tale of Shame by Angel Igov. It sounds weird, this one. 3 friends leave, I think, university, and decide to go on this kind of road trip, hitchhiking around the coast, and they get picked up by this former rock star, who's now widowed and very lonely, and who picks them up and they start kind of chatting to one another. And in this journey, they discover that each one of them is linked by this woman that they all know who's wronged them in some way. So yeah, it sounds interesting, it sounds weird. I like the cover an awful lot, I think it's very pretty and well done. Yeah, and strange premise, but we'll see. I quite like the idea of like road trip novels, like funny road trip novels, so hopefully this is funny. And the next one I have is my pick for Bosnia and Herzegovina. It's The Lazarus Project by Alexander Hemin. This is a story that's kind of told across a century. So we follow the story of this one man who's called Lazarus, who went to a police station in Chicago to hand a letter and was shot dead. And then 2 friends who are in the modern day, like 2008, who become obsessed with Lazarus and who he was and where he came from and want to find out everything they can about him. So I think it's kind of pairing the 2 together, the 1908 and 2008, and exploring this man's life. So yeah, we'll see what I think of this one. It's got a quote from Gina Diaz on the cover, so that's kind of funny. I feel like it's getting meta now, but yeah, looking forward to it. And the next one I have is, it's a very beautiful book, guys. It's Sulfuric Acid by Emily Norton. Just have a quick peek. Isn't that pretty? So this is my pick for Belgium. And this is a book about reality TV gone wrong. The kind of idea behind this is that there's a reality TV show in which anyone can be picked off the street. So you're literally kidnapped, bundled into a van, taken off, and you're in kind of Big Brother. And everyone watches. It's very much society watching itself, and you never really feel as though you're detached from it because anyone can be picked up at any time. It's a really short little one, but it sounds interesting. I don't know whether it's going to be creepy or not. I think it's probably going to be more of a Kafka-esque thing, but we'll see what I reckon to it when I get there. And then the last one I have is one pick for Armenia, and it is Skylark Farm by Antonia Aslan. This follows an individual who's left Armenia to go and study abroad, and then returns home on the eve of war, and it's kind of the story of that individual's family and the effects the war had on the Armenian community, obviously the attacks on Armenian people. Yeah, so I think it should be interesting. Now, Armenia isn't a place I actually know very much about at all. I kind of have like a brief like synopsis of a country in my head. So I think this is going to be one of those books I'm going to learn an awful lot, and I'm going to be looking up sort of history at the same time. But it should be a learning curve for me, and hopefully it's enjoyable too. So those are all the books that I have for my Around the World haul part 3. Hopefully there's some stuff in there that is exciting, and you're looking forward to hearing a little bit more about. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be carrying on collecting, carrying on showing you guys stuff. We are getting close now. We're in October, so we've only got 2 months before we get started. Yeah, so hopefully you guys are excited, and I'll see you soon in my next video. Bye!